WHA Booster Club, 520 East Main Street, Carmel, Indiana, 46032.
Well, I'm Yancey Deering, and with me is Kev Carmichael. We're ready to kick off this ball game. And a couple of quick things to note about the game tonight, as we aren't sure how much action we will see from Pete Harrington as a bruised shoulder. Also, another person to watch would be Jeff Taylor with stitches just below his left knee. And the Greyhounds now are ready to start this football game, and they will receive. Here's Kev Carmichael with the action.
Sturgeon prepares to kick off with Moore and Sharp back deep to return the kickoff. Sturgeon gets a low kickoff deep. Moore picks it up at the 10-yard line. He's out to the 30-yard line, breaks it up, and tackled down at the 35-yard line. So a good 25-yard kickoff return for Todd Moore.
So watch the Greyhounds to come out, and they have really, in the words of Coach Belton, worn the paint right off the helmets this weekend practice. A lot of hard work. Another thing, as we mentioned, Pete Harrington might not see some action. Jason Hansman now trots off the field as he was going to start. Gunderson comes out of the game. So now it's going to be interesting to see what exactly the Greyhounds start with.
Paget steps up over center. Full house in the backfield, nobody out wide. Hand off to the second man through. That's Cole. Cole busts forward for a good 7 yards. Good carry that time.
Toby Cole, very much of a firm running back for the Carmel Greyhounds, picking up 8 yards on the game. The thing about Toby is that Cole, this is the team that Toby scored his first high school varsity touchdown against, and it happened last year.
So it'll be second down and 2 yards to go as King steps in over the ball. Paget over center. Full house alignment in the backfield once again with Christie, Sharp, and Cole. Long count by Paget. Hand off to Cole. Cole up across, first down over to the 47-yard line. So Cole picks up 4 yards on the carry.
Again, another blast play to Toby Cole. Watch the Greyhounds to try to control the ball a lot during this game. Definitely, I believe they will try to keep it down a little bit, establish a good, strong running game, and then go to the passing game, try to run out as much clock as possible.
First and 10 from the Carmel 47-yard line. Paget over center, full house in the backfield. Christie, Sharp, and Cole. Long count. Play action pass. Paget finds over on the left side. That's Fritz. He's open. He's at the 30, the 20, breaks one tackle, fumble, and the ball comes out at the 6-yard line. Fritz was hit at around the 10-yard line, and the ball bounced out at the 6-yard line.
A yellow flag thrown in the backfield, and Coach Belton does not look happy. That's going to go against the Greyhounds, so the Heights Pirates will decline the down, and it will be second and 10 again from the 49.
So a big play nullified that time from the Greyhounds. Down 10 yards to go. Ritz coming out from the tight end position, caught the ball at the Pirates' 35-yard line and was hit out of bounds at around the 10. The ball came loose and went out of bounds at the 6, but the play is complete.
So they will take over now at the 39-yard line. It was a holding penalty against the Greyhounds, so second and 20 for the Hounds now, or rather first and 20 for the Greyhounds as they come out of the huddle.
This time, split formation in the backfield with Cole and Sharp. 2 men out wide, left and right. Paget drops back pass. Quick pass out of the backfield to Sharp. Sharp turns the corner and is knocked out of bounds in Pirate territory at the 49-yard line. Sharp coming out of the backfield to pick up a good 13 yards on the play.
Watch a lot of those quick passes tonight to the running backs, also the Greyhound tight ends and receivers, just because of maybe Coach Belton and the staff might be a little bit scared to keep it upstairs and long so far. He mentioned that a lot of their plays were 2 long passes, so watch them now to keep short passes for the Hounds.
Paget over center, split formation, Cole and Sharp. 2 men out wide, left and right. Paget drops back to pass. Turns around, squares around, he finds his wide receiver open, and it's just out of the fingertips at the 15-yard line. Paget just overthrowing.
Gunderson just gets the overthrow. The one bad thing that happened there was Paget was getting a lot of pressure from the outside men of Madison Heights. Almost sacked, barely gets the play off, and almost hit Gundy open, and that would have moved the ball down to the 20. Now the Greyhounds are looking at 3rd and 6 from the 49.
Big down here for the Greyhounds. Paget over center, split. Sharp and Cole. Gunderson out wide left. Hansman out wide right. Paget barks a signal, drops back, rolls to his, gets it off to Sharp, and it's a complete pass at the Pirates' 42-yard line. That'll be close to a first down.
So again, going to Mike Sharp on, as I said, you're going to see that play happen a lot, I believe, as the Hounds barely pick up the first down. A lot of quick, short passes. Again, that's what Coach Belden said the passing was. They went a little bit too long on the long plays against the Panthers. So watch them to keep things here short and concise here at Carmel High School.
Paget over center. Power I. Handoff to Sharp, the back man. He busts through for about 5 yards, 5 tough yards. He was stuck after about 3 and lunged forward for about 5 yards.
So Sharp picking up consistent yardage this ball game, and I would watch for Mike Sharp to have a couple games flirting with probably around the 80 or 90 mark in yardage. So watch for Mike Sharp to get a lot of yards.
The playing field, it looks as if a Madison Heights player is being helped off the field. That Madison Heights player is number 66, the defensive end, Todd Sturgeon. He walked off with a little bit of help from the Madison Heights trainers. Leads the huddle, Paget over center. Split formation in the backfield with Cole and Sharp. Gunderson out wide left. Paget, long count. Quick pass over the center to Gunderson, complete. And Gunderson gets up to the 20-yard line. Flag on the play.
That flag would be a pass interference flag, probably, just because of where it was thrown. It was thrown right there where the ball was caught and where the down was. As we see referees now talking to quarterback Bill Paget. Another hurt Madison Heights player. We'll try to pick that up in just a second, Cap.
So, big pass that time for Paget. Paget is now 2 for 3 in the completion ratio with a good 38 yards, having a good ball game. All the passes have been short to the running backs and short slants from the receivers.
The completed passes have been kept, but you got to remember the one that went to Ritz all the way down, would have brought the ball at the 6, was caught back on the penalty. And also another long pass play was sent out to the right. That is going to, they go a personal foul for face masking against the Greyhound, or rather against the Pirates. The ball is now moved down to the 11-yard line.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Greyhounds at the 11-yard line after the penalty is assessed on the Pirates. So a good drive so far for the Greyhounds, hoping to capitalize on the drive. It appears as if the injured Madison Heights Pirate on the playing field is number 31, Tom Alberts. He has been on the field on the 47-yard line for quite some time now.
Alberts, a strong player for the Madison Heights Pirates, also placed tailback for the Pirates, so a very valuable loss to them. They have at least 4 players that start both ways for the Pirates, so definitely not a very large team. They don't have a lot of players, and they get the most out of what they have. That is a good plus going for the Hounds, just because the fact that if the game was close to the end, Cap, the Hounds, with wearing them down, if they're going to be in the whole game, back and forth, they're going to get a little tired. So it's definitely an endurance test for the Madison Heights Pirates as, again, they bring a smaller team to town.
So 1st down and 10 on the 11-yard line. Paget over center. I formation with Cole, the up man, and Sharp, the tail man. Sharp gets the play over right side, and he goes in to about the 4-yard line. A good run that time. Quick developing play.
Again, Mike Sharp, definitely the key man here as he picks up 7 yards, about 8 yards. Ball now moved to the 7-yard line. Sharp, again, a very strong runner, and you watch him to really burst out of the backfield out of this if the Hounds come to the full house.
Full house formation. Paget calls the signals. Handoff to Cole, right over the center. Touchdown, Greyhounds. Cole does a somersault into the end zone. So the Greyhounds draw first blood 6-0 with 8 minutes and 7 seconds left on the clock in the first quarter.
Toby Cole picking up his 3rd touchdown of the year. He's the only Greyhound to score a touchdown. So Toby Cole picks up the touchdown, moves the Greyhounds on top 6-0. Here's Mark Lovat to put up the extra point.
Mark Lovat will be attempting the conversion. Put the Greyhounds up 7. Quick snap, Lovat approaches the ball, and it is good. Carmel Greyhounds pick up another point, 7-0. 8 minutes and 7 seconds left in the first quarter.
So the Greyhounds now up 7-0. Again, to recap that drive start, the Hounds started on their own 43-yard line and moved it pretty quickly, actually. Only the clock now reads at 8:07, so the Hounds just held the ball only for 3:53. Moved the ball well, and that was the first one. 9 plays, 65 yards for the Greyhounds. So watch them to maybe try to become a little more explosive in this game, but I think they will try to run the clock out quite a bit, Cap.
Good point. They would like to hold the Pirates and not give up any more points than they have to. They gave up 26 points against North Central, and I'm sure their defense will not want to give up any more of this game.
Mark Lovat in to kick for the Greyhounds, and Lovat, very strong kicker. He's a good place kicker. What I mean by not only a place kicker, that he will place the ball well on the field. He's not going to kick it deep and into the end zone, but he will place it good. As we see, helmets are rising now on the Greyhounds bench, and the Greyhounds are ready to kick off to Madison Heights for the first defensive Greyhound action of the evening.
Lovat approaches, drills the ball, high kick. Under the ball coming in is Broadnax. He fumbles the ball at the 15-yard line and is cut down right there at the 15-yard line. Great coverage by the Greyhounds. Had a little bit trouble handling the ball. Thought about running before he could catch it, and is dropped at the 15.
Cap, the way things are going good for the Greyhounds is definitely a plus. What this can do for the team, it can really give a rise. The team has been down a lot, I'm sure, after, in Coach Belton's words, being a wounded Greyhound now, after being beat by North Central so bad last week. Watch them to come up this week, really put together a good game, and that'll be a heck of a boost for the team's confidence.
So we'll see the blue steel defense in action. Stepping in over center with the I formation is Clark. Clark barks out the signal. Man in motion to the right hand. Play action pass. Long pass down the right side, and it is incomplete down at the 50-yard line. That number 88, Maurice Richardson.
So Richardson not really on a play action pass, but a long sideline play for the Heights Pirates, and it just a little bit overthrown because quarterback Clark had a little bit of extra pressure on him to have to worry about. So if the Greyhounds can continue to add that pressure, it's going to be a lot harder for Clark to throw perfect strikes.
So once again, the Greyhound defense is taken deep on the first play. First play for the defense in both their games. Against North Central, they were hit hard with a 43-yard completion. So the Pirates head to the line. Clark over center, I formation. Man out right and left. Clark barks the signals. Man going in motion. Handoff to the tail man. He comes through for about 5 yards. So it'll be second down, third down and 5 for the Pirates. On the run was Bryant Steens.
Steens, a very good athlete for this Madison Heights team. Comes back from last year. One of the returning lettermen, a very good runner in him. Watch him to get a lot of yardage tonight in this ball game as the Greyhounds taking on the Madison Heights Pirates. The Hounds on top, 7-0, 7:02 left to go here in the first quarter. The Greyhounds have looked pretty tough so far, Cap. We'll have to see if they can continue putting the action on. Madison Heights taking a lot of time in the huddle, and they call for a timeout, Cap.
So the Madison Heights Pirates didn't look as if they were knowing what they were going to do in the timeout. Had to call a timeout to save the delay of game call.
That was a official's timeout, an equipment problem with the Madison Heights quarterback, Clark. So now we're ready for action.
Clark over center, men out left and right. I formation once again in the backfield. Steens a tailman. Handoff to the second man through, that's Steens. He's only going to get about 2 yards on the carry. So that'll move it to fourth down and 3 yards for the first down.
So far, we might be able to see Madison Heights be one of these teams that's going to really try to grind it out with a lot of runs, pass it on first down and run it. The Hounds now are back to receive the punt as Madison Heights has the punt on 4th down, Cap.
Low head over heels kick. Hansman will field it. It gets through his legs at the 40, and he picks it up, and it fumbled. It's going to be a scramble for the ball at the 20, and it looks as if Steve Crosby for the Carmel Greyhounds fielded the ball at the Carmel 16-yard line.
Jason Hansman, as the ball went through his legs on the play, went to dive for the ball, then the ball kicked up and went through his legs again, and maybe he should have dove on the ball, I'm not sure, but as it got through again, if it wasn't for John Spiedel, Madison Heights, Sam Boyd could have picked it up and could have really ran it all the way in. He had a lot of open field ahead of him, but thank goodness for the Greyhounds that Crosby was there.
I think Hansman should have just dove on the ball. There was a lot of traffic in the air. He should just have taken the loss and stopped there. Paget approaches the line. Full house in the backfield. Paget barks out the signals. Sharp, Cole, and Christie in the backfield. Option play, Paget around the left side, and he's knocked out of bounds at about the 29-yard line.
Bill Paget, a good runner for the Carmel Greyhounds. He's like having another man in the backfield. He's such a strong runner for the Hounds. We haven't seen him get a lot of running action this season, but going by his past performances, Billy is definitely a very good runner. So it is going to be a first down as Bill Paget picks up 10 yards for the Greyhounds, and they've moved themselves out of a hole.
So the Greyhounds 1st and 10 on the 27-yard line. Paget over center, King, full house, Christie, Cole, and Sharp. 2 tight ends in the ball game. Handoff up the middle, and he has stopped cold for no gain on the play. Quick developing play, but the Pirates were right on top of him.
Mike Sharp gets the handoff, so Sharpie picks up no blood drawn there. Sharp 13 yards so far with 3 carries. Playing pretty tough for Mike Sharp. One thing, watch the Greyhounds maybe to go with some more passes right now as we look at 2nd and 11.
King leads the team out of the huddle. Paget over center. Moore, Sharp, and Cole in the backfield. Paget barks out the signals. Play action pass. Paget has Ritz wide open. He's to the 50. Hits hard at the Pirate 45-yard line. Ritz was wide open coming from the tight end position.
So Adam Ritz is going to pick up long yardage as we wait to get where the ball is officially placed. That one is going to be a 28-yarder for Adam Ritz. Picks up 28 yards in the pass category, and talking to Adam, he said that he feels that he's going to get a lot more calls tonight than what he has last week.
Paget sets over center. I formation in the backfield. Long count, 2 men out wide, left and right. Paget to Sharp. Sharp over 10 yards. Bust through for 13 yards down to the 32-yard line of the Pirates.
This is definitely a different Greyhound ball club than we saw last week, Cap. They just seem that they're really flowing right along. Jeff Taylor checking into the game now for Jason Hansman. Hansman very speedy. Taylor's also very speedy himself, also runs track short distance. So watch Jeff Taylor, a man that can break things open.
5th first down for the Greyhounds. Split formation, Paget over center. Gunderson out left. Paget drops straight back to pass. Heavy pressure. Paget scrambling and manages to get back to the line of scrimmage. Good bit of scrambling that time by Paget.
So Bill Paget on first down again, running, picking up no yards, so no blood drawn. But the good thing is he did not get sacked. He kept the Greyhounds from getting sacked and put back in a hole where the original pressure was. If he would have been sacked, it would have been all the way back about the 38-yard line. Right now the ball sits on the 32, and it's 2nd and 10.
Paget over center, split formation with Sharp and Cole in the backfield. Long count by Paget. Paget drops back to pass. He has a man open. That is Sharp out of the backfield, and Sharp pulls it down to the 24-yard line of Madison Heights.
Again, the Greyhounds going for just short passes, that time picking up 8 yards. So Sharp, again, picks up his 8 yards, this time by air, which Sharp has already caught 3 receptions for the Greyhounds for 25 yards. So the Hounds keeping short, sweet passes to anybody who's open right now.
Full house formation. 3rd down, 2 yards to go. Handoff to Cole over the right side. Cole has plenty of running room and gets the first down to the 20. Gets down to the 18-yard line.
So Cole picking up 4 yards on the play. Toby with a hard hit there. Was hit hard by Richardson of the Heights Pirates. So these teams do hit hard, this Madison Heights team, and watch that to really be a factor as the game rolls on.
Full house formation once again. Quick count, handoff to Cole. Cole over the left side, down to the 7-yard line. Great run that time by Cole. The entire left side of the line that time opened up. Cole hurdled the attacker and moved in for a good 10 yards on the carry. First down for the Greyhounds.
So Toby Cole getting the call again on first down. Strong fullback for the Greyhounds on the quick count. It's 1st and 10 from the Greyhounds 7.
Paget over center. Full house formation. Sharp, Moore, and Cole. Handoff to Cole. Cole battles for about 2 yards, gets down to the 5-yard line.
Again, watch for the Greyhounds on these plays, definitely. A lot of the quick runs, try the blast plays for the Greyhounds. It's been a tradition that has worked here at Carmel. But for some reason, I wouldn't be surprised to see Coach Belton, as the game goes on, to try to do a little more experimenting if he feels confident enough with this Greyhound team. But again, they will come out to the power I formation.
2nd down, goal to go. Power I formation for the Greyhounds. Long count by Paget. Paget handoff, Sharp, right side, touchdown, Greyhounds. Beautiful play. Paget, Sharp barely touched as he crossed the goal line. Greyhounds go ahead 13-0 with 1 minute and 43 seconds left in the first quarter.
So the Greyhounds definitely moving the ball well. It's been Carmel hold the ball for about 3 or 4 minutes, score, more than a Madison Heights punts, and the Greyhounds get on top again. Score now 13-0. Here comes Lovat to try the extra point.
Gunderson holds. Lovat kick is up and good. So the Greyhounds move ahead 14-0. Minute 43 left in the first quarter. Greyhounds getting off to a tremendous start early in the ball game.
So Mark Lovat adds the extra point. We'll recap that in just a second. The scoring drive, but the Hounds on top 14-0. One thing that's very effective, kept the passing game has been there, been running very well for the Carmel Greyhounds also. They're playing real well ball, good defense. They're looking really organized out there as opposed to last week. Now watch the Greyhounds to keep driving right down the throat of Madison Heights, because I don't think this team's going to let up. Not this week, especially not after last week. They need a lot of confidence. That scoring drive, 10 plays, 83 yards. So the Greyhounds moving the ball very well, over a 8-yard average for the Greyhounds so far per down.
Judd sets the Greyhounds for the kickoff. Back deep for Madison Heights. Stearns. Lovat kicks it off to the left side, right side. Broadnax fields it at the 10. He's up to the 15, the 20, and is stopped right there. Great pursuit by the Greyhounds.
So the Greyhound defensive team, which was very effective on the first Madison Heights possession, comes to the field. The Blue Steel defense, it's kind of unusual. We also now have heard the Greyhound offensive team is called the Gold Rush. So we've got Gold Rush and Blue Steel here to make up the Carmel Greyhound football team. They say it adds some team unity with the names, as the Greyhounds now set to try to stop the Heights Pirates again.
Clark over center, I formation. Now moving in motion is Maxwell. Clark drops back to pass, and it is dropped at the 45-yard line. Big hit put on that time by Tom Moore. That pass was intended for Murph, was intended for Maxwell. Maxwell could not hold on to the ball as Moore put the hit.
So Tom Moore with a good stop there for the Greyhounds brings up 2nd and 10 for Madison Heights. And one thing, the defensive plays are being called in again to Trent Decatur, one of the co-captains, bringing him in. It's It's amazing how well the Greyhounds can communicate with the teams out on the field.
Clark over center, I formation. Richardson out wide right. Maxwell in motion, handoff to the second man through. That's Stearns. He's up for maybe 3 yards on the carry. So it'll be 3rd down and 7 for the Heights Pirates.
One thing that I just noticed on that play, the Carmel secondary has seemed to toughen up. They're not letting the Madison Heights receivers and split outs come out clean off the line of scrimmage. They're getting hit hard. Saw Mark Lavatt right there in the face all over Sam Boyd as the play was snapped, and Boyd never got a chance to get open.
Clark over center, I formation. Richardson out wide left. Maxwell in motion. Option play. Clark will keep it, and he is... No, now he flips it back to Stearns, but good discipline by the Greyhounds to drop Stearns for about a 4-yard gain.
McDonald, Lavatt, and Tom Moran on this stop for the Greyhounds. I tell you, when the Greyhound defense is rushing right along, they won't have just one man making tackles. It seems that they're going to have 3 and 4 men in on the tackles. So far, we've seen that tonight. Now it's just a test on how long the Greyhounds can keep that up.
4th down and about 1 yard to go, and it looks as if Madison Heights will try to go for it. And the first quarter has come to an end here in Carmel High School.
So at 1 quarter break, the Greyhounds are up 14-0. We will have to wait and see, though, if Madison Heights will go ahead and continue with the ball and try to run a play, or if they will punt it. If they do, though, try to run the ball, watch it to be a handoff probably to Steens once again. Steens is picking up rather good yardage as the game goes along. I have him unofficially 4 carries for 15 yards. So Steens is running the ball pretty well, and it looks as if Madison Heights will punt it.
So back deep for the Greyhounds is Hansman. Hansman had trouble handing the ball the first punt, got through his legs and ended up to be recovered at the 15-yard line. So the Greyhounds, Hansman back at his own 30-yard line, looking for good field position here. Greyhounds set up for the return. Once again, another low punt, and Moore fields it short at the 45-yard line and goes ahead to the 48-yard line. So another short kick.
John Spidell, the returner for the Carmel Greyhounds, brings back 23 yards on the return. So John Spidell, a speedy free safety actually for the Carmel Greyhounds on defense, comes into special teams with that extra speed and gets some yardage back for the Greyhounds. The ball now sets up on the 46-yard line. You know, Cap, the Hounds have been putting together a good offense. They have scored on every possession so far. They've held it twice. They've scored touchdowns twice. We'll see what they can do now.
1st and 10. Paget over center. Handoff to the first man through. That's Cole. Cole breaks free. He's got 10. Out into Madison Heights territory to the 42-yard line.
So Toby Cole, our ball carrier there, picks up a 1st down. Picks up, I guess, right, just over 10 yards. So we'll call Cole getting 11 yards. Toby Cole, again, that strong fire plug of a fullback for the Greyhounds.
1st and 10, Greyhounds in Pirates territory on the 42-yard line of Madison Heights. Split formation. Cole and Sharp in the backfield. Gunderson out wide right. Paget drops straight back. Has man open on the left side. That's Taylor, and it's just out of the reach. Paget let it loose down all the way to the 10-yard line. Taylor just couldn't keep up with it, and it will be 2nd down, 10 yards.
So far, Cap, it looks as if the Greyhounds might not be getting exactly great pass protection for quarterback Bill Paget. The times when he has really tried to throw the ball long, he's had a little bit of pressure, and that's the reason he has not thrown extremely good passes to his receivers as they're going out long. Watch the Greyhounds to try to tighten up that pass protection later on in the game.
Paget over center, I formation. Cole, the up man, Sharp, the back man. Long count. Paget drops straight back. Got plenty of time this time. Dumped off to Cole. Cole's up. He's got 10 yards going down. He's all the way down to the 20, 15, 10. He cuts it back to the right. Touchdown, Greyhounds. but there is a penalty flag on the play.
Well, those were thrown, Cap. That is going to be very doubtfully going to be a holding call, maybe a clipping call or face mask, probably a personal foul. And that's going to be called back. That will be against the Greyhounds. We get the word from the referees it is clipping. So that's going to cost the Greyhounds the down, which would have been 7 points, plus another 15 yards. So the Greyhounds are going to take over at second. It's not a 15-yarder. That just brings the ball back to the 45-yard line. So the Greyhounds now will look at second and right at about 12.
So that is a second big play the Carmel Greyhounds have had that has been nullified. The other a pass to Rich that brought it all the way down to the 6-yard line. This one, a touchdown that was nullified by an unnecessary penalty. So King steps in, leads the Hounds out of the huddle. Paget over center, split formation. Gunderson out wide right, Taylor out wide left. Sharp and Cole in the backfield. Paget drops back. Short pass, and Sharp is stuck that time by Clark. Defensive back for Madison Heights Pirates. Sharp coming out of the backfield was really hit hard.
Clark also the quarterback for Madison Heights, so they're throwing everybody out there to go both ways against the Greyhounds. It's going to be an endurance test, I guess, now for the Madison Heights Pirates. Wow, Sharp was hit hard there by Clark. Jarred the ball loose right before Clark, or rather right before Sharp had the chance to catch it. Madison Heights is wisening up to the Greyhound short passes.
So third down, 12 long yards to go. Hansman in the ball game out left. Gunderson out right. Paget drops back, straight back. A little bit of pressure, releases the ball, and just out of the reach of a diving Gunderson. So the Greyhounds will face their first fourth down in the ball game.
Eric Gunderson having words with the Pirates' Mark Reynolds, linebacker. So the Greyhounds definitely very intense to go. They have to punt now on third down, another incomplete pass. So Sharp stays in rather. Next time to punt for the Greyhounds. He'll be punting. He'll get the ball at about the 45-yard line. The line of scrimmage is the other 45.
Sharp gets off a low line drive kick fielded by Clark at the 15-yard line. Clark will maybe get 5 yards as he is hit hard by most of the Greyhound coverage team. So Madison Heights will start their drive at the 17-yard line.
Greyhounds working good on the specialty teams thus far in the ball game. And one other thing, Cap, that I noticed is Clark is a heck of an athlete. He started playing quarterback halfway through the season last year for Madison Heights. He's a defensive cornerback. He also is the quarterback, and he returns kickoffs and punts. So Clark, an all-purpose man for this Madison Heights Pirates team.
So the Pirates approach the line. Clark over center, I formation. Long count for Clark. Once again, man in motion. Handoff to Steens. Steens over. He gets about 8 yards up to the 25-yard line.
Stopped by John Spidell. Spidell quick to get in. Actually, Steens had already picked up 8 yards, and Spidell was waiting for him. Got a good right at the waist hit to knock Steens down. That brings up about 2nd and 2 from from the Madison Heights 24-yard line.
So Schelling leading the Pirates out of the huddle. Clark over center, I formation. We have seen that all day from the Pirates. Clark barks out the signal. Hand off to the backman Steens, and he will not get anything. Maybe a half yard on the carry. Good defensive line surge by the Greyhounds.
So the Greyhounds using a lot of defensive pressure now. The only thing that I have seen so far was they aren't getting the long passes in when on offense. Brings it now, we look at it 3rd and 2. This is when the Greyhound defense really needs to stiffen up. If they can stop Madison Heights here short of the first down, they will have an opportunity maybe to pick the ball up even in good field position, even if they do pick up a punt.
3rd down, 10 yards to go, I formation. Clark barks out the signal. Steens the back man. Play action pass. Clark over the middle, complete at the 42-yard line. So big completion for the Pirates. Clark really threaded the needle that time.
And that pass was picked up, I believe, by Maurice Richardson. Or rather, excuse me, Sam Boyd, number 83, for the Madison Heights Pirates. So he picks up the first down and a lot of yardage, gives the Heights a little more room to work with. Now they stand on their 42-yard line.
1st and 10 after the 18-yard reception. Clark over center, I formation. Receiver split left and right. Man in motion. Flip back to Steen. Steens cuts in and is stopped for no gain whatsoever. Good defensive pursuit by the Greyhounds.
Kaufman, senior linebacker, gets the stop for the Greyhounds, or excuse me, junior linebacker Kaufman makes the stop on the play. Greyhounds picking up pretty good pursuit on the run so far. We've not seen a big gainer by the Heights Pirates yet so far.
So Pirates approach the line. Clark over center, I formation. Steens the back man. Maxwell the front man. He is in motion now. Handoff to Steens up the middle, and he is met at the line of scrimmage. Maybe got one with his forward motion.
So they're going to try to keep it to Steens, and again, the Greyhounds stopping cold that time. The Greyhounds are really making a lot of good coverage and picking up the run against this Pirates team. This brings up now 3rd and about 8 from the Greyhound 43-yard line.
7 minutes left in the second quarter. Greyhounds leading 14-0. 3rd down, 9 yards to go. Clark over center, I formation. Maxwell in motion to his right. Clark option play and good pursuit by the Greyhounds, dropped for a gain of about 1.
So that's going to bring up 4th down, and here comes the punting team for Madison Heights.
Hansman for the Greyhounds will set himself up to receive the punt at his own 25-yard line. 4th down, 8 yards to go. Punting unit on for the Pirates.
Carmel takes a timeout now as Coach Fiedler heads out to talk to his troops to maybe just warn them against either a sneak by the Pirates or possibly trying to get Hansman a little more running room, trying to open up more holes for the speedy junior Jason Hansman.
If Hansman gets out into the open, he is extremely quick. He can break open any big play. Only a junior, not a very large athlete. He's 5'6", 137 pounds. Junior wide receiver, punt returner. He's had a lot of action so far in this ball game and had limited action in the North Central ball game.
So
the Pirates approach the line, ready to punt. 4th down. 6 minutes and 24 seconds left in the first half. Carmel Greyhounds leading 14-0. A good punt this time, high in the air. Hansman comes up and falls on it at the 30-yard line. Good gutsy play that time by Hansman, sliding underneath the ball to protect it.
Which surprised me that Hansman picked that ball up. I really thought one of the upmen for the Greyhounds would pick it up, maybe Spidell or more from where the ball was coming down, but Hansman called for it, went ahead and took it, and slid in as if sliding into second base to pick up the catch.
30-yard punt by the Pirate punter, and King leads the Greyhounds out of the huddle. I formation for the Greyhounds. 2 men out wide left. Now Gunderson moving in motion to the right. Paget, handoff to Sharp. Sharp up the middle, breaks a couple tackles. He breaks it. He's at the 40 to the midfield, past midfield to the 48-yard line of the Madison Heights Pirates. Good run that time by Sharp, breaking a couple tackles at the line of scrimmage and breaking it for a great gain.
22-yard gainer for Mike Sharp. He already has 52 yards unofficially in the ball game on just 6 carries. He's also in the passing category. He's received 3 times and has picked up 25 yards. So the Greyhounds and Mike Sharp are moving the ball well. Madison Heights has an injured player right by the Greyhound bench, so we cannot pick up a number as of yet, but as soon as we do, we will get the number and name to you.
108 yards rushing already for the Carmel Greyhounds. That is very high compared to last week. Last week, they did not even break the 100 mark. This week, already with 5 minutes and 44 seconds left in the first half, they have 100-plus yardage. They also have 73 yards passing.
Another thing the Greyhounds watch them to do again on first down to pass. It's something that they've liked to do. Actually, that one was a draw play. So watch maybe another one of those. I look for a quick pass, but Madison Heights picked that up well the last possession of the Greyhounds. So maybe they'll try to open it up a little bit, open the game up and go a little longer.
Split formation behind Paget. Taylor out wide right. Gunderson out wide left. Paget barks out the signals. Long count. Drops back. Long pass lofted over the head. Taylor running underneath it, and he drops the ball. The ball could not have been placed any better. It hit him in the hands, and he dropped it at the 10-yard line.
Jeff Taylor, as I said a little earlier, can really open things up. And there on first down, as I said, they might go longer, and they did. In and out of the hands of Jeff Taylor. Good throw there. As he checks out of the game, in comes Jason Hansman to bring in the next play for the Greyhounds. Maybe they might even go upstairs again, Kep. But the Greyhounds definitely are moving the ball well. 5:27 left to go in the first half. Our score stands at 14-0. The Greyhounds on top.
Split formation behind Paget. Cole and Sharp. Hansman out wide left, and Gunderson out wide right. Quick handoff to Sharp. Sharp up for quick 10, maybe 15 yards down to the 36-yard line.
Right about a Greyhound 12-yard gain on the Mike Sharp run. And wow, Mike Sharp putting on a one-man show here tonight for us in the running and the receiving category. As I said, already 64 yards now Mike Sharp has running with 7 carries. The Greyhounds first and 10 from their Madison Heights 37.
Taylor steps back in for the Greyhounds. Split formation behind Paget. Sharp Cole. Paget rolls to his right. Has Sharp out of the backfield. Sharp down at the 35-yard line. Gain of about 3.
He gets Sharp open just short of the flat. Sharp had pressure. Some pressure was coming at Bill Paget, but the Greyhound line had dropped back and given a good barrier for Bill Paget. So the Greyhounds definitely with a lot better pass protection.
So the Greyhounds with 4 minutes, 49 seconds left in the first half. And there is a penalty being assessed on the Greyhounds. At a 10-yard penalty. Holding.
An illegal use of hands or holding call is going to bring up first and 20 from the Madison Heights 46. Definitely not one the Greyhounds head coach Jim Belden's going to like.
Greyhounds approach the line of scrimmage. Paget over center. Hansman out wide right. Gunderson out left. I formation, Cole and Sharp. Paget drops back to pass. Quick pass into the backfield. That's Cole. Cole up to the 40, the 30, and best a couple tackles down to the 25-yard line. Great bit of individual running that time by Toby Cole.
You can hear the Greyhound fans right below us as they come alive. One thing, the Hounds are definitely moving the ball well. Toby Cole, that is the same exact play the Greyhounds scored their touchdown against North Central last year, last week rather, in the closing minute of the ball game. Definitely under pressure. Bill Paget has held together strong this year.
First and 10 for the Greyhounds, 25-yard line, full house. Moore, Cole, and Sharp. Long count by Paget. Paget play action pass as Ritz open in the end zone. Touchdown Greyhounds. That a beautiful play. Had the Pirates thinking run all the way. Ritz coming out from the tight end position for the 25-yard touchdown pass reception.
So the Greyhounds move on top, 20-0, 3:47 left to go here in this first half. Be sure to stay tuned because at halftime, an interview with JV coordinator Mr. Bruce Wolf, as we talked to him a little earlier today. Mark Lavat's going to come in, Eric Gunderson on the hold.
Gunderson places it, Lavat up and through the uprights. Field goal is good, so the Carmel Greyhounds take a commanding 21-0 lead. 3 minutes, 47 seconds left in the first half.
This is definitely what the Greyhounds needed, kept to boost their confidence, get things rolling along for them. Adam Ritz with a 25-yarder. That adds to his 28-yard reception earlier in the ball game. So Adam now with 32 yards in receiving on just 2 receptions, one of them being a touchdown.
Lovat prepares to kick off from the 40-yard line. The Greyhounds really commanding both sides of the line of scrimmage, offensive and defensive, and now have over 100 yards both in passing and running. That scoring play, 5 plays, 70 yards, capped off by a 25-yard touchdown pass from Paget to Ritz. Judd for the Greyhounds sets the kicking team. Pirates back deep, standing at their own 15-yard line. Lovat gets into it, low kick. That ball will bounce out of bounds, flags go down. So that'll be a 5-yard penalty on the Greyhounds.
So now the Greyhounds will re-kick it from the 35 unless Madison Heights takes it. I don't think they will. Yeah, the kicking team stays on for the Greyhounds. So now the 35-yard line where the Greyhounds will kick again. 3:47 left to go. Be sure to stay tuned again at halftime. Listening to the voice of the Greyhounds, WHJE Carmel, bringing you football action from Carmel High School football field. Our score 21-0, Carmel on top of the Madison Heights Pirates.
So Lovat will do it all over again, this time from the 35-yard line. Judd setting the kicking team. Back deep for the Madison Heights Pirates. That's Steens. He's at his 20-yard line. Lovat waiting for the signal from the referee, and they're ready. Lovat gets into it, a good high kick that will be fielded by Steens at the 20. 25, running laterally now to the 30, breaks a tackle at the 33, up to the 34-yard line of the Pirates.
So the Pirates will take over at their own 34-yard line, where they have to move the ball quick. 3:40 left to go now in this first half of the ball game. The Greyhounds over-dominating our score 21-0. And kept so far, to recap things, the Greyhounds just moving the ball real well, and that's been the key, and the defense has done a good job thus far.
So the Pirates approach the line of scrimmage, I formation. Out wide to the left, Scott Braddix. Clark handoff to Steens, and he is dropped for a loss of about 3 yards. Great pursuit that time for the Greyhounds. Number 98, David Kennedy, in there to get the first hit.
That is not just a regular I formation they're using, Kep. That's called a stacked I formation for the Madison Pirates. So watch for them trying to move the ball out again. They might be forced to try to go upstairs here, but I really don't doubt it. Again, probably to Steens.
Out wide to the left for Madison Heights, that's Jones. In motion, Maxwell. Handoff to the first man through. Stopped for no gain whatsoever by the Carmel defense. On the run was Basinger.
So again, the Greyhound defense toughens up. 3rd down now and 12. And Basinger on the carry on that last play again was stopped by a slew of Greyhounds. The Greyhounds need to toughen up here, maybe get the ball back and put another score on the board.
3rd down, a long 12 yards to go. 2 minutes, 10 seconds left in the first half. Clark over center, stacked I formation. Broadneck's out wide left. Long count. That is a play action pass, and nothing doing as also he gets the ball off to Steens. That was an incredible play, incredible athletic ability by Clark. Greyhounds all over him, was able to get the ball off to Steens for no gain.
So no gain, but boy, Steens was really under a lot of Greyhound pressure. About 4 Greyhound jerseys in there, and I'll tell you, that Steens and Clark combination could really be something, but it just doesn't seem they have a lot of protection.
Pirates a punt on 4th down, another low kick. This time Spidell fields it once again on the 45-yard line across midfield to the Pirates 45-yard line. Got a big hit, pushed out of bounds at the Pirates 45-yard line. The Greyhounds will take over with 1:25 left in the first half.
So a quick 1-minute drill here for the Greyhounds, trying to move the ball 45 yards exactly to the end zone for another score. They might not be able to move it well enough to get the touchdown unless they have a big play, but I think they can move it consistently and pick up a field goal, Kep, just depending on how far the Greyhound kicking team can put the ball through the uprights.
So Paget over center, 2 men out wide to the right. That Taylor and Gunderson, I formation with Cole and Sharp, the back man. Play action pass, rolling right is Paget. Paget has a man open, that is Ritz. He's been open all night, 20, the 10, the 5, touchdown Greyhounds. Ritz, a 45-yard touchdown pass reception. He has been open all night.
So Adam Ritz, as I said a little earlier, said he feels he's going to get the call a lot tonight, and he does there. Touchdown for the Greyhounds. They jump on top, 27-0, 1:15 left to go. Nancy Deering and Cap Carmichael bringing you all the action from Carmel High School, and the Greyhounds have looked impressive today. It really looks like a better team, a completely different team than last week.
Ritz has just been open all night. That one a 45-yard gainer. Scoring drive, 1 play, 45 yards, capped by the 45-yard touchdown pass. Paget to Ritz. Lovat puts it through the upright for the extra point. The Greyhounds take the lead, 28-0.
One thing that Coach Jim Belton said about this Greyhound team, they actually have the opportunity to do better than last year's team. And I'll tell you, Cap, they've done so. They've done very good tonight so far. 28-0 our score. Just in the first half, the Greyhounds are looking tough. Part of the reason, again, Bill Paget is getting a lot more protection, and it seems every play the Greyhounds have called has come up their number. Helmets raised on the Greyhounds side as the Hounds getting ready, probably the last kickoff, maybe, in this first half.
So Judd sets the kicking team back deep for the Pirates on the 15-yard line of Broadnax. Lovat approaches it. Low kick. That ball will be fielded on the 20-yard line up to the 30, 35-yard line. Stopped cold there by the Greyhounds.
So the Greyhounds move the ball. 1 play, 45 yards. Touchdown Greyhounds to Adam Ritz on the pass. 1:09 now. We have just over a minute. 28-0, the Greyhounds looking impressive. Madison Heights takes over on the 33-yard line. It's 1st and 10. Mark Lovat again made the stop on that made the tackle on the kickoff.
So the Greyhound defense trying not to give up any more points. 1st and 10 on the 34-yard line of the Carmel Greyhounds. Clark sets up over center. Stacked I formation. Clark play action pass, drops back. Has man open, and it is dropped for an incomplete pass at the 47-yard line.
Jack Christie making a good stop for the Greyhounds, breaking up the pass, not necessarily the stop, but caused that play to be nullified. And one thing, Cap, the Greyhound stands are packed from one end to the other. Just looks to be a sea of humanity. And then back again, as Carmel High School affectionately calls it, Teenage Wastelands packed. Not a lot of fans made the trip down, though, from Madison Heights.
Clark over center, stacked I formation. Broadnax out wide left. Handoff to Steens, runs into his own player and is dropped for a loss of 3 on the play. Ran into his own lineman and didn't go anywhere after that.
So Steens, -3 on that one's going to bring his total back to 20 on 11 carries. He's gotten the call a lot of times when Madison Heights has the ball. 27 seconds and counting. The Greyhounds having a little problem getting the defense set up. Now they do, and they're showing a lot of pressure, Cap.
Stacked I formation behind Clark. Man in motion to the right. Big pressure coming from the outside. Clark does get it off. Incomplete pass. Great coverage that time by the cornerback, Mark Lovat.
I'll tell you, where the Greyhounds had a problem, an extra man came off the field when they weren't ready for him. The coaches were expecting 2 men to come off the field. Instead, 3 men came off. Atkins runs back out as if he's in motion, runs right into his spot. And when he gets there, he has really not much energy, and he gets hit immediately by the line and gets hit, pushed back. If they would have ran a run out of that power, or rather the stacked I, that hole was open there. It's a good thing they went up for the pass because the Greyhounds had that covered good.
Timeout charge to the Greyhounds with 10 seconds left here in the first half. Carmel Greyhounds with a commanding lead of 28-0.
Amazing that Carmel would call for a timeout under that situation. It's going to be 4th down with 10 seconds. I'm not sure if Madison Heights will punt it or not. I really doubt they will with just 10 seconds, but they might just try to figure if they could just get a long, high kick out, that the Greyhounds are going to have to take over from at least around the 50-yard line. But if Madison Heights might be able to run out 10 seconds in one play, I really think that the Heights will keep the ball here, Kep, try to run a play, and I think that the coaches, the defensive coaches, especially Fiedler, who's out there talking to the team, is just going to try to make sure to stop them, try to get the ball back for the Greyhounds.
A new cornerback in for the Greyhounds, that being Spar. Clark over the center, power I formation, 2 men out wide, left and right. Clark rolls to his left, has a man open down the left side. That ball will be dropped by Tony Mefford at the Carmel 45-yard line. The ball went right through his hands. He almost looked like the intended receiver.
I'll tell you, Mefford might have a legitimate excuse there. A sprained left thumb, or excuse me, that's a sprained right thumb that he has. He's not real well. We saw him in practice yesterday. He was having a little hard time handling the ball on a pass. Hey, has it heavily taped? That might have been the reason, but wow, if he would have got it there, I would have given the Greyhounds a ball. But actually, it's a good thing he did drop it, because that's going to bring up 1st and 10 from the Madison Heights 30, instead of where would have been 1st and 10 from around the 50.
So Padgett steps over with 3 seconds left, probably the best last play of the half. Padgett with a log count, I formation behind him. Hand off to Sharp. Sharp to the, and he is breaking it and then cut down at the 15-yard line. Good tackle that time, put on by number 81, Mike Jones. And the first half has come to an end. Carmel Greyhounds with a commanding 28-0 lead. Great half of football.
Tell you one thing, Cap, the Greyhounds are really tough thus far in the game. So is Mike Sharp. 79 yards rushing for Mike Sharp on just 8 carries. He has 25 yards receiving. We'll be back with some stats, some quick stats, and then an interview with JV coach, Mr. Bruce Wolf. All that coming up right after this 60-second timeout on the voice of the Greyhounds, WHJE Carmel.
Our thanks go out to the following WHJE Super Boosters. Bennett Music Company. Bennett Music features recording studios for many different audio needs. In fact, most all of WHJE's jingles were recorded at Bennett Music. Call Joe Bennett at 257-6293 for more information. And Butler Toyota of 96th and Keystone. Butler Toyota has put WHJE on the road to bring you more exciting Greyhound action. Butler Toyota has done this by providing WHJE and CHTV with a brand new Butler Toyota van. Butler Toyota at 96th and Keystone for new or used cars or trucks. Call 846-9600 for more information. That's Butler Toyota at 846-9600, home of the fussy customer. WHJE and CHTV would like to say thanks to these Super Boosters for their very generous contributions.
Welcome back to Carmel High School. The Carmel Greyhounds with a commanding 28-0 lead over the visiting Madison Heights Pirates. Carmel Greyhounds have had a great first half of football, picking up 13 first downs already in the half, picking up 14 points in the first quarter, 14 more in the second quarter, having 28 total points. Rushing yards for the Carmel Greyhounds have 155 total rushing yards. Excellent football for the Greyhounds. Passing yardage, another good stat for the Greyhounds, 146 yards.
Okay, Cap, we'll be back right after this 30-second timeout with an interview with Mr. Wolf on the voice of the Greyhounds.
Our thanks go out to the following WHJ boosters: J.W. and Eleanor Lang, Bob and Sue Langston, Dr. David E. Laycock, Alan Phyllis Ledoux, Bob and Jean Leeper, C.J. Lear and family, Susan and Frank Lewis, Mr. and Mrs. Charles Limburg, Andrew D. Little, Tom and Susie Logan, Tom and Heather Lord family, Tom and Lynn Lavatt, Russ and Shirley Love, Dale Luther family, Mr. and Mrs. W.L. Lyons, Russ and Jean McDonald, Dale and Sharon Mansberger, Ron and Joan Manson, the Ron Marburger family, John F. Martin, Mr. and Mrs. Charles E. McAloon. If you'd like to be a WHJ booster, send $15 for your family, $25 for your business to the WHJ Booster Club, 520 East Main Street, Carmel, Indiana, 46032, and your name will be added to our list.
Here with head football coach of the JV squad, Mr. Bruce Wolf. Thanks a lot for coming by, Mr. Wolf.
Sure thing, Nancy, no problem.
Okay, as we mentioned, coaching a lot with the JV. You're one of the coaches that does some of the specific work with the reserves. What have you seen so far this year you like?
Well, I think as the JV coordinator, as Coach Belvin calls me, one of my responsibilities is to try and keep an eye on how the various individual units are improving. For instance, how is the offensive line coming along, or how is the defensive backs coming along? And I think at this point, I'd have to say that our defense is a little bit farther along than our offense at the JV level. There's been a lot of good hitting. There's been a lot of good team pursuit, team tackling. And at this point, I think the only thing the offense is lacking is coming together as a unit. And in their own defense, the offensive units each week change in the JV program. One week it might be some juniors and some sophomores together, and the next week it might be all sophomores together on the offense. And in that sense, it's difficult to work together as a unit, although they have improved quite a bit this last week.
Another thing you mentioned about the units, 2 JV units per week go out, usually on Monday nights. How hard is that for you, as you said, as being JV coordinator, to have to follow both teams when they're both playing at the same time?
It's real difficult, although I have very good communication with the rest of the coaching staff, and on those doubleheader nights, very often Coach Mike Feremsky and myself go to the away games, and then Coach Grenda and Coach Van Horn stay and coach the home games. And usually on a Monday night when we get back from the away game, the 4 of us sit down and talk about what happened, and did things go as planned, or what big plays were there, what mistakes did we make, and I try and get a feeling for what areas we need to work on that way.
When it comes to the varsity level, then, how do you help out the varsity squad?
Well, I'm kind of the swing man on the coaching staff. Generally speaking, I assist the defense with the secondary and sometimes linebackers. And then when we get into teams on defense, I usually work with the sophomore defensive unit. But also from time to time, I also swing over and work with the offense. And again, that's usually with offensive backfields and receivers, or with the offensive unit as a whole. This year, however, we're real fortunate because there are 2 men from the community that have volunteered their time with us. Coach Terry Prather and Coach Kenny Kirk are both helping us out this year, and they have been a very important part to the JV program in that they have helped take over most of my offensive responsibilities, and they are taking care of the JV offense quite a bit. It's freed me up to give more time to the defense and help out the overall program in that way.
Okay, and as the year progresses, what is going to be your final goal for the JV team?
Well, I think I kind of have 2 goals every year. One is kind of a selfish goal, and the other is I guess, an unselfish goal. I like to see the young men have success. It's not so much that winning is everything, but it's certainly not fun for them if they go through the whole season and don't win games. Also, winning the game is a way that a young player can realize that all of that hard work has paid off in some sort of way. But so I guess wanting to win, wanting to see them win is kind of my selfish goal for them. My secondary goal is to prepare them for varsity competition. Any junior or sophomore that plays JV ball is probably not a full-time player with the varsity. And therefore, it's my goal to try and make sure that they improve enough that next year they can be a full-time starter. And that goes for both sophomores and juniors.
Okay, another thing, swinging around, as you mentioned, you work a lot with the receivers in the backfield for the varsity offense when you get to work there. A little bit of experience there for you. Went to Carmel High School. Quite a while ago, in your time ago, and in your heyday, of course, catching the longest touchdown reception ever caught by a Carmel High School student, I believe 97 yards. What was that like playing at Carmel High School back then?
Oh gosh, it was a lot of fun because I enjoyed football a lot. I enjoyed the coaching staff that was coaching at that time, and it was interesting when I came back to Carmel as a teacher and a coach that some of the same people that coached me at Carmel as a player, I'm now coaching with as a fellow staff member. But it was a lot of fun. That 97-yard touchdown catch was pretty thrilling. Big plays like that are thrilling when you can be a part of them. But it's also nice when you have a big play like that if you can win the game. And fortunately, that particular night, we ended up winning the game. An interesting note, though, is that since I've been back and been running the JV program, while I was away at an away game, apparently we had a pair of JV players beat that record, or at least we are pretty sure they did. We were pretty sure that we were on about the 2-yard line, and they completed a pass that ended up going for a touchdown. So it may very well be that there has been a 98-yard touchdown in Carmel's history, although it was at the JV level.
Also, baseball coach here at Carmel High School. We do a lot of, it seems, different work for the baseball team, a lot of shifting. What does your baseball duty entail?
Okay, with the baseball program, up until this coming year, we have always been at 2 separate fields. The varsity has played over at Legion Field, and the JV has played here at the high school field. And once again, my responsibility in baseball is with the JV program, with the JV team. And it's different in that we don't practice together. The football teams practice basically JV and varsity all together, but in baseball, in the past anyway, the JV's practiced here at the high school and the varsity's practiced over at Legion. So we're kind of separated. And as far as my responsibilities go, in the past I've been the only coach for the JV team, so I've had to basically handle everything. I've had to handle defense, offense, pitching. But this last year, and I hope this coming year, Tom Linkmeyer, again a volunteer coach, helped me out last year, and he's going to, I think, be available again this coming year. And he is a former pro player, and he helped me out defensively and with batting, and so we were able to split our time a little bit in that way.
Okay, Mr. Wolf, thanks for coming by, and good luck in baseball and, of course, the rest of the JV season.
Thanks a lot, Yancey.
We'll be back with some more stats after this 60-second timeout on the voice of the Greyhounds.
Today's sports broadcast is being brought to you by the following WHJE boosters: Terry and Sherry Gentry, Ron, Susie, Kathy, and Julie Givens, Mike and Bev Ginta, Larry and Nancy Glaze, Bootsy Glick family, GNA Incorporated, John and Helen Gordon, Bud and Sharon Grimmel, the John Griffin family, Lee and Sharon Grimm, John E. Gwadel Jr., Roger and Janet Getzgo, Muriel and Hayner, Phil and Candy Hagan, R.V. Hallam Plumbing Company, Stu and Dottie Hancock, Ken and Shirley Harmon, Jack and Sandy Harrington, Dr. and Mrs. Robert D. Hartman, Don and Joan Hayes, Dick and Ann Hebert. If you'd like to be a WHJ booster, send $15 for your family, $25 for your business to the WHJ Booster Club, 520 East Main Street, Carmel, Indiana, 46032.
Welcome back to Carmel High School. Yancey Deering along with Kep Carmichael by my side. The Greyhounds on top, 28-0. Taking a look at some individual stats. First off, for the visiting Madison Heights Pirates, it was running back Bryant Steens gets all their runs, 11 carries, 20 yards. Also, for one other carry for exactly 0 yards was John Basinger. For passing for the Madison Heights Pirates, Sam Boyd caught 1 pass for 18 yards. That wraps up the individual Madison Heights Pirates totals. For the Carmel Greyhounds, Bill Paget rushed for 10 yards on 2 carries. It was Mike Sharp running 15 for 79 yards on 8 carries. Toby Cole, 44 yards, 7 carries. And the receiving, Mike Sharp, 25 yards on 3 receptions. One reception, a 23-yarder to Toby Cole. Eric Gunderson also got the call once for 5-yarder, and Adam Ritz got 2 receptions for 32 yards. Cap, you got some more team totals for us?
Well, as I was saying before, Bill Paget has 8 complete passes on 14 attempts for a total of 169 yards. Rushing yards for the Carmel Greyhounds, 135 yards, so excellent offensive performances. Madison Heights Pirates have not had that much any way, shape, or form. They only have 1 first down. Their rushing yardage total about 25 yards, passing yards 16. They've only had 7. The Madison Heights quarterback, Clark, has attempted 7 times and only completed twice. Madison Heights Pirates have punted 4 times, 1 for 49 yards, 1 for 23, 1 for 30, and another one for 23. Carmel Greyhounds have been penalized for 35 yards, while the Madison Heights Pirates have been penalized for 11.
I got a problem. I got a problem. What? I don't know, just keep going.
Well, Carmel Greyhounds have had 1 punt for 31 yards, and they have fumbled 1 time. That was recovered by Steve Crosby. The fumble was on a punt. Hansman could not field the ball, went through his legs, and Crosby was able to recover it on the 15-yard line. The scoring plays for the Carmel Greyhounds. The first one was 8 minutes and 7 seconds left into the first quarter. Toby Cole scored on a 4-yard run, capping off a 9-play, 65-yard drive. Then Mike Sharp went over from 4 yards with 1:43 left in the first quarter. 10 plays, 83 yards, the total drive. Adam Ritz for the Carmel Greyhounds scored on a 25-yard pass from Bill Paget with 3 minutes and 47 seconds left in the second quarter, and scored again with 1:15, 45-yard pass from Bill Paget. I think for the rest of the year, we're going to hear a lot of Paget to Ritz on long plays. Ritz has been open all day from the tight end position across the middle and along the sides.
Well, Cap, the reason that is a lot of Adam Ritz's plays are designed to be longer patterns, I should say, for Adam Ritz. So, again, that's why he's going to get a lot of long ones, while the shorter ones will go to receivers. But also a couple of them, especially Gunderson, has a lot of patterns that go long for him. Watch for the Greyhounds, I believe, maybe to go with just a couple short passes again, but they might try to open it back up. It's really hard to tell what the Hounds will do in the second half.
Also, Jeff Taylor for the Greyhounds has had a couple long plays called his direction. Both of them just out of the reach of him due to the pressure on Bill Paget. Paget on the short plays has had plenty of time to get him off. The line has not had to hold the defensive line that long. The longer patterns, Paget has been rushed a little, thus his timing has been off a little bit and overthrowing his receivers.
So both teams take to the field now, as the Greyhounds will be kicking off to Madison Heights, who will receive. Of course, I believe Mark Lovat is in to do the kicking, as the helmets are raised once again on the Greyhound squad. A tradition started last year here at Carmel High School, and the teams are ready, and we are ready for second half action here on the voice of the Greyhounds, WHG Carmel, bringing you live football action from Carmel High School.
So Lovat prepares to kick back deep at the 15-yard line for the Pirates. Is number 43, Brian Steens. Flying to the left, number 34, Broadnax, and to the right, number 21, Basinger. Judd sets the kicking team, and Lovat gets one off. This one will be fielded by Broadnax at the 10-yard line. He runs up the middle to the 20, breaks it at the 25, breaks a tackle down at the 30-yard line. Big hit put on that time, and some tempers are flaring down there. Bill Judd put a big hit on Broadnax.
So they will take over now at the 30-yard line, the Madison Heights 30-yard line. The Carmel Greyhounds stopped him originally on the initial hit, Cap. The extra added yardage, of course, being brought back after stopping a forward motion. So the Greyhounds, watch for them to try to come out and establish another good defensive half. They kept everything moving smooth during the first half. They're trying to look for more of the same.
I formation for the Madison Heights Pirates. Clark over center. One man flanked out. Steen's the carry, and he will be stopped for a gain of maybe a half a yard.
One thing, the Greyhounds going again tonight with their basic 4-3-3 defense. Steens picks up just over 2 yards, so Steens picks up 2 as Madison Heights now moves the ball out to the 32-yard line. And watch the Greyhounds again trying to tighten that defense up.
So 2nd down and 8 yards for the first down. First down marker just over the 40-yard line. Clark over center, I formation. Clark rolls to his right, looks to pass. Now he's going to take it around the right side and is dragged down from behind. Great pursuit by the defensive end of Carmel.
Good sack by the Greyhounds. Over 10 yards, looks to be an about 11-yard loss. David Kennedy makes the sack, and with him, that was kind of a solo sack. David Kennedy, tough guide-nosed player for the Greyhounds. About a 12-yard sack now, so good defensive play by the Greyhounds. Brings up 3rd and 22.
Greyhounds looking to stop him here and would have good field position after the punt. Definite passing situation for the Pirates. Clark over center, I formation. Men flanked left and right. Clark long count now drops straight back. Has a lot of pressure, and it is intercepted by Trent Decatur, and that is a touchdown, Carmel Greyhounds. Clark did not even see him in the backfield. Trent Decatur picked the ball off at around the 15, at about the 20-yard line, and waltzed in. Nobody touched him for the touchdown. Carmel Greyhounds' first defensive touchdown of the year.
And a yellow flag is just thrown, and that is going to be a penalty, maybe possibly for having the players not on, or actually maybe a delay of game, and that's going to go against the Carmel Greyhounds. So that one's going to, now the kickoff will be from about the 10-yard line. So still just a chip shot for senior kicker Mark Lavatt.
Gunderson puts down, holds. Ian Lavatt puts it through for his 5th field extra point of the day. So Lavatt having a lot of action in the kicking duties and is perfect, 5 for 5.
Excuse me, Cap, that penalty did not take effect on that play. It will be taken on the kickoff. For delay of game, it'll be interesting to see where they place the ball. Another interesting stat is who is in on that defensive, or rather the line, the offensive line, I guess, on the point after. We saw Matt Elliott, sophomore for the Carmel Greyhounds, who's been snapping on the extra point attempts. So kind of interesting to see Coach Belton send out some sophomores, but he does get the call. Now I think we're going to see a lot of the underclassmen come in for the kicks. That is a long penalty. It's going to be a 15-yarder, brings the ball back to the 25. So a good break for Madison Heights. And so the ball will be kicking off again from the 35, or rather the 25-yard line on that delay of game penalty.
Broadneck's back to receive for the Pirates at his own 20-yard line. Pirates should have great field position after the kick. Judd sets the kicking team. Lavatt kicks. This one a low kick. Fielded on the right side. Dropped, bobbled up to the 40 and over to the 46-yard line on the return. Ball was bobbled a little at around the 27-yard line. Pulled it up to the 46-yard line. They will take over 1st and 10.
Mike Jones, the receiver there, and John Delph with the stop, a junior for the Greyhounds. Just seems that Madison Heights hasn't gotten a good break, and this is, again, the first Olympic Conference football game of the year, the home opener, and the Greyhounds are coming out in style. 35-0, 9:42 left to go in the 3rd quarter. The Greyhounds just devastating the Madison Heights Pirates.
Blue Steel defense prepares for battle once again. I formation, Clark over the center. Clark, quick pass, drops back short, and is dropped for the sack. A lot of defenders in that time, including Malinchuk in there quickly.
Malinchuk got some aid, though. Actually, the first man through was Drew McDonald. McDonald held quarterback Clark, and then came Malinchuk for the hit. Did not make the tackle, but did stop forward motion. It was -5 yards there on the play. So the Greyhounds defense just coming tight, and I'll tell you, Cap, everything is rolling right along, and these are the games that the coaches just love to watch.
Clark steps in over center, I formation, men flanked left and right. Clark pitch back to Steens. Steens over and gets back to around the 43-yard line. And it will face a third down.
Steens picks up the yard on the play, brings up 3rd and long, about 3rd and 13 for the Madison Heights Pirates. Tony Mefford checking in the game for the Carmel Greyhounds. And out we'll check another Greyhound, that's Todd Green. So again, we're getting some new faces in there with the normal familiar ones. So the Greyhounds starting to mix up the lineups now.
Clark over center. I formation in the backfield. 3rd down, 13 yards to go for the first down. Clark drops back to pass, and Moore in there quickly. Todd Moore coming in quickly to drop him at the 30-yard line.
Devastating. The only thing you can say about the Greyhound defense this series, from the 43-yard line, the ball is going to be moved all the way back to the 30, but we have a yellow flag against the Greyhounds, a personal foul, a roughing the quarterback. So that's going to bring the ball right back to where we started. So
Greyhounds had a 4th down and about 22 for the first down. Now face a 1st and 10 in Greyhound territory at the 41-yard line. Clark over center, Jones out wide left, I formation. Steens, the tailback. Clark barks the signals, flip back to Steens. 4th to the outside, he will not get any, loses a couple yards that time. Great pursuit by the Greyhounds. First man in there, Crosby.
Also Trenton Decatur with the stop, but I'll tell you, he was hit hard by Malinchuk, and he spun. Good heads-up running by Steens, but he just could not get through back on the play.
So a loss of 3 on the play, and it'll be 2nd down and 13.
So the Greyhounds, still, that defense is looking hard. They are holding Steens to only 20 yards on 14 carries. Greyhound defense is looking tough.
2nd down, 13 to go. Clark over center, I formation. We've seen a lot of that today in the ball game. Clark, long count, barks out the signals. Play action pass, Steens rolls to his right, a lot of pressure, eludes a tackler, squares around, guns short to his intended receiver, Jones.
And on the pressure, David Kennedy once again. So now we have 3rd down, and again 13. The Greyhounds really putting a lot of pressure on, which is something they were not doing last week. The defensive line has taken up a lot of tightness in the middle, and the outside men gives them more room to come around and put that pressure on the quarterback. And I think that's where a lot of that pressure is coming from the outsides, from Kennedy and Malinchuk. So watch the Greyhounds to keep things tight and hard in the center.
So 3rd down, 13, facing the Madison Heights Pirates. Clark over center, I formation, 2 men out wide, left and right. Clark drops straight back, now rolling to his right, a lot of pressure, dumps one off to Steens out of the backfield, met hard by Malinchuk, shakes the tackle, and gets through for about 3 yards, taking it back to where they had it 1st and 10, so it'll be 4th down and 10 yards.
Only picks up 2 there, Cap, so it will be 4th and 11 for the Greyhounds. So the Hounds definitely moving things real good. Another interesting point for the Greyhounds now, as Madison Heights sets to punt. It'll be interesting to see now when they come back on defense, or rather on offense, if they're going to try to put in some of the younger cores. Usually they'll wait because you don't want to use them for too long, because under IHSA rules they can only get 5 quarters. So a lot of the players that might see it action are JV players and won't see the action until the 4th quarter.
4th down, it looks like Madison Heights going for it. Clark, a lot of pressure, gets the ball off, caught, but will not get the first down. Risky play by Madison Heights, almost came through for him, but Broadnax making the reception after a gain of about 7 yards, was brought down short of the first down.
Brodnax, as you said, picks up about 8 yards on the play. And I'll tell you, it's a good thing that the Greyhound secondary was there, because if not, that would have been a first down and then some. So the Greyhounds picked the ball up, and I'll tell you, probably a good call by Madison Heights, because if they would have punted it, it would have really not made a difference on where the Greyhounds would have got the ball back.
So 1st and 10, Carmel Greyhounds starting at their own 35-yard line. Gunderson out wide right. I formation with Sharp and Cole. Handoff to Cole. First man through. He busts through and picks up about 12 yards on the carry across to the 47-yard line. Great run by Cole.
What's interesting is an unnumbered player. We don't have the name, or rather his number, but he was, Cole, I think, would have been short of the first down. But one of the linebackers for Madison Heights grabs him by the jersey and threw him down and threw him over the first down marker. So Toby Cole picks up 11 yards on the game.
1st and 10, Carmel Greyhounds patch it over center. I formation. Handoff is to Sharp. Sharp busts over midfield and gets close to the first down in Madison Heights territory at the 45-yard line. That will be close to a first down, but it looks from here a little bit short, about a yard short.
That will bring up second down, 2nd and 1. So Sharp picks up 9 yards. I'll tell you, Greyhound running game has been established good tonight. You can't say enough about Mike Sharp's running. Right now he has 88 yards so far.
Patch it over center, split formation with Cole and Sharp. Taylor and Gunderson's the wideouts. Quick slant to Taylor. He makes the completion and up to the 25-yard line. Good quick slant by Taylor for a big gain.
I've been waiting for that play to happen for a while. Jeff Taylor, as I said, definitely can pick up a good pass, and there he did, and it was a long one. This one for about 19 yards on the play, so good heads-up play there by Jeff Taylor.
So 1st and 10 for the Greyhounds at the Pirates' 25-yard line, threatening again, I formation. Cole and Sharp, Hansman and Gunderson out wide. Sharp takes it. He's over the 20 to the 15, 10-yard line. Great run by Sharp. Big hole opened up wide for him. Both broke a couple tackles for a big gain.
So we do have a flag on the play right to where the ball sits. It happened at the end of the play, and that's going to be a personal foul against Heights, but that'll only move the ball halfway the distance between the goal line, just because the fact that, the 15-yard penalty would put the Greyhounds in for the score. About a 19-yard run for Sharp on that last play on 3rd down. So the Greyhounds will take the ball, well, it looks to be at the 5-yard line, so it'll be 1st and goal from the 5.
So Sharp with that carry has passed the century mark, 101 yards on 10 carries. Full house formation behind Paget. Moore, Cole, and Sharp in the backfield. Handoff is to Cole. Cole breaks in for the touchdown. 5-yard run for Cole. Touchdown Greyhounds. 41-0. 4 minutes and 6 seconds left in the 3rd quarter.
And this might be one of the bigger scores the Greyhounds have run up in years. 41-0 so far, with 4:06 left to play here in just the 3rd quarter, fans. We still have another quarter of play. Scott Newkirk, the new kicker for the Greyhounds, a straight-on kicker, comes on to kick, and Jason Hansman in to hold.
Long count. Hansman gets down cleanly. Newkirk gets it up. It's long enough, but wide to the left. So Newkirk could not convert the extra point, and it remains 41-0. Carmel Greyhounds on top with 4 minutes, 6 seconds left in the 3rd quarter.
Unofficially, I have the Greyhounds rushing for 168 yards, 167 yards. So there, between just 2 backs, that is. Or rather, no, it's 178. Bill Paget also with 10 yards, Sharp with 108, and Cole with 59. So the Greyhounds are moving the ball well on the ground, and they are passing the ball good. I look for them to start passing a little more.
I see on the sidelines right now, Samala taking some snaps from center, so we may see him in the ball game for the next offensive series for the Carmel Greyhounds.
I think they will, because if you look, he's in with Todd King, the starting center for the Greyhounds. So watch Samoa to come back in.
Judd sets the kicking team. Steen's back deep to receive at his own 10-yard line. Newkirk, the kicker for the Greyhounds. Newkirk is ready to go. Judd sets the team. 4 minutes, 6 seconds left in the third quarter. Newkirk gets a low kick, fielded at the 20-yard line, dropped. This is by Broadnax. Broadnax takes it back to right side and is finally dropped at the 30-yard line. Flags are everywhere.
That might be an illegal, or face masking, or an illegal use of hands. We're going to have to wait and see what the exact call is. It's going to go against Madison Heights, I believe. It's going to be clipping against the Pirates, so another plus for the Greyhounds is going to move the ball back another 15 yards. So they're going to take over somewhere between the 15 and the 10-yard line.
So far, this ball game has been just what the Greyhounds needed. Coming back after the 26-15 loss to North Central. Right now, 41-0 in the third quarter. This is just what the doctor ordered. Hopefully, they'll get back their confidence and come out and do well in the following weeks.
So the Greyhounds, or rather Madison Heights takes over from the 12-yard line. 1st and 10, the Greyhound defense trying to stop again. Maybe we can get another score on the board here before the third quarter ends. 3:51 left to go. The Hounds on top, devastating, 41-0.
Clark, a tired quarterback, steps in over center I formation. 2 men out wide left, 1 man out wide right. Clark hand off to the first man through. He won't get anything. Stopped at the line of scrimmage.
I didn't see who it was. They're running still that stacked I. Hard to pick numbers up, but he does pick up 1 yard, as it was on the run was John Basinger. So now it will bring up 2nd and 9 from the Greyhound 13.
So the center, Sturgeon, leads the Pirates to the line. Clark over center. I formation behind him. Long count, bobbled by Clark, and the fumble looks like it is recovered by the Greyhounds. It looked like number 51, Todd Green for the Greyhounds, was in there first. Not sure if he recovered it, but the Greyhounds will. Todd Green recovers the ball. So the Greyhounds with an excellent opportunity to punch it in for another 6 points.
So the Greyhounds are definitely looking tough. Once again, just heads up play all around on the fumble recovery. And will come in junior quarterback Jay Samoa. So maybe the quick scouting report on Jay Samoa. Samoa comes in at 6'5", 202 pounds, very lanky boy, but he can throw the ball long, Cap.
So the Greyhounds take over 1st and goal to go from the 5-yard line. Samoa handoff, this time to Rogers. Over the left side, touchdown, Greyhounds. 5-yard run, that time from junior Rogers, number 38 fullback for the Greyhounds. And the Greyhounds move ahead 47-0. Still 2 minutes, 27 seconds left in the third quarter.
So the Greyhounds, again, devastating, 47-0, as you said. And I think they're just trying to wait now for the fourth quarter when they can't put in, especially a lot of the juniors will come in, the JV, just because of the fact you can't use them but just 5 quarters a week. And this Friday counts as next Monday. So they don't want to use up their eligibility for Monday night. So watch, though, once we do get into the fourth quarter, a lot of the JV kids come in. Again, Newkirk the kick and handsman to hold. Delay of game penalty called against the Greyhounds, taking too much time. And I believe that'll just be a 5-yard penalty now. It will not be until the kickoff.
They are marking that ball off now for the delay of game. So Newkirk will kick the ball from the 15-yard line. Newkirk has had one other field goal attempt. That one missed wide to the left. So hoping to get a good kick here and boost his confidence. Handsman to hold. Long count. Handsman high snap. Gets it down in time, though. The kick is up and good for Newkirk. So the Greyhounds move ahead 48-0. Still in the third quarter.
The Greyhounds, again, still unbelievable. This is definitely not the kind of game I expected them to play. I figured they'd come out, try to put some more points on the board, and I figured they'd be doing so. 48-0, and I'll tell you, Coach Belton is definitely going to be happy next week when you can talk to him on Sports Edge. school song going on by the band. Definitely a great home opener and an Olympic Conference opener for the Carmel Greyhounds, and it looks as if they will not lose another Olympic Conference game, and they will keep their undefeated Olympic Conference record going. But one point, though, against this Madison Heights team, the Greyhounds did have a forfeit, and that was because of the fact that using an ineligible player that they didn't find out till after the game.
Judd sets the kicking team. Newkirk the kick. This is a low kick fielded by Broadnax at his own 15, across the 20 to the 25, over the 30 to the 35-yard line. Good return by Broadnax right up the middle. Did what he had to do.
Nancy Deering and Kep Carmichael bringing you the action here on the voice of the Greyhounds, WHJE Carmel, where the Greyhounds are up 48-0. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in the third quarter. The Greyhounds have executed well. The only negative part that they have that we have seen so far, 60 yards in penalties going against them. I recall 2 personal fouls plus a delay of game that have really hurt the Hounds. So watch them to work on that in practice next week.
So 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. Clark over center. I formation. Clark looks like a broken play. Fumble recovered by Clark. Great play that time. He looked as if he wanted to pitch it back. His player was not there. The intended man to receive that ball looks like Steens. Clark, heads up play, recovered the ball.
McDonald with a good heads up play there, causing the stop. Clark is a slow moving person now. James Clark, quarterback for Madison Heights, is not moving quick. Going back to the huddle is taking his time. He's tired. He's taken a lot of hits. He's also had to play some defense for this Madison Heights team. The Greyhounds have just worn down Madison Heights.
So 2nd down, 11 yards for the 1st down. I formation. Clark steps back. Play action pass has a man open over the center. Overthrown. Broadnax, the intended receiver. Ball just over his head at the 49-yard line.
So the Greyhounds now 1:13 left to play. The Hounds, Blue Steel defense working tough. They still have a lot of the starters in, though. I see Kaufman is still in. Also, the whole front line is in. And that front line does still need all the work they can get. So we might see Coach Belden shy away from using his reserves right now. I think he's going to keep a lot of the heads-up players in just because of the fact they do need a lot of practice. They need a lot of work. Not every game is going to run your way like this one has.
So still 1:13 left in the third quarter. Clark over center, I formation. 2 men out wide, left and right. Looks like there was some movement on both sides of the line. We'll see. Flags are everywhere.
So right now it is 3rd and 11. It's going to go against the Greyhounds, encroachment against the Greyhounds. So that will bring up around 3rd and 6 on the penalty.
5 yards on the penalty. That ups the Greyhounds total to a 65 yards total penalty. That not very good for the Greyhounds.
That's not going to be a happy stat. I'm sure the coaches are going to be looking at, and that's a lot of the penalties are just concentration, Kep. I think that they're just going to have to work on concentrating a little harder.
So 3rd down, 6 yards. I formation. Steens the carrier. He's over the 40 to the 43-yard line. Short of the 1st down will be 4th down and 3 yards.
So he's going to pick up 2 yards on the play, and I think they might send out the punting unit, but they might not. It doesn't look like they are. They might go for it.
I think at this point, being down 48-0, they are going to go for it. They really have nothing to lose. If they get another set of downs, all the better, giving their players a little more time in there. 4th down, 2 yards for the 1st down. Clark sets up over center. I formation. Steens the tailback. 2 men out wide, left and right. Flanker off to the right. Long count, handoff to Steens, and Steens gets over to the 45-yard line. That looks like it could be for a 1st down.
We're going to have to wait, Cap, and see what it is. 1st down, Madison Heights. So they have just picked up the 4 yards that they needed and just inches more. And so the Greyhounds don't stop Madison Heights. And that is the end of the third quarter. So 48-0 is our score. The Greyhounds on top after quarter number 3. And they get ready for the 4th quarter action. And the Greyhound fans are ecstatic.
That first down was only the third first down recorded by the Madison Heights Pirates so far in the ball game, compared to the 14, compared to the 19, rather, recorded by the Greyhounds. That stat is very impressive, showing great offensive production by the Greyhounds. Also, over 100 yards in both passing and rushing for the Greyhounds.
You'll notice, Cap, all the Greyhounds are holding up 4 fingers. That means it's time for the fourth quarter. That's when it counts, when you really got to dig in hard and fight, because that is the quarter that counts in all football games. And I don't think this fourth quarter is going to be as tight as some of the others, but the team showing unity and really are looking hard to win this fourth quarter. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference now. The Greyhounds on top, 48-0. We have 12 minutes of football left to play. Yancey Deering and Cap Carmichael bringing you the action on the voice of the Greyhounds.
Formation, we've seen a lot of that all night. Clark takes the snap, play action pass, a lot of pressure from behind, trying to outrun it, showing good speed, gets to the corner and gets the pass off, incomplete. Clark showing great athletic talent that time.
Good pressure by Keltner, Vaughn, Elliott, Matt Elliott, and also in there for the Greyhounds was Chad Miller. So they have thrown out quite a few reserves. We'll try to get those names for you. It looks like John Delph is in there, Lance Lysing, a safety for the Greyhounds. I don't believe there are any other really first stringers in the game right now except for McDonald, and I believe Vaughn is in.
A lot of smiles on the Greyhound bench. Clark on the line. Second down and 10. I formation behind Clark. Hand off to Steens. A little bit of mess up in the backfield, and Steens will be dropped for a loss of 3. Ran into Clark trying to make a cut.
One interesting thing about Steens, when he had carried the ball 5 times, he had 23 yards. He's now carried it 7 times, and he has 23 yards, and he's only been stopped at the line of scrimmage twice. It's just been back and forth. He'll gain 3. The Greyhounds will drop him for 3. The Greyhounds are picking up the run very, very good tonight.
So third down and a long 13 yards to go for the Madison Heights Pirates. 11 minutes left to go in the ball game. Greyhounds with a commanding 48-0 lead. Clark over center, I formation behind him. Clark drops back to pass. Has man open in the flat. That's Broadnax. He is dropped after he picks up 3 on the completion. Big hit put on that time by John Delph.
So the Greyhounds sitting in again, all their second stringers. Lysing, Lance Lysing, senior safety with the stop on the play. So the Hounds putting together a very tough defense.
So fourth down, 9 yards to go for the first down. Madison Heights will be punting. Hansman back for the Greyhounds at his own 25-yard line, now back to the 24. Hansman has fumbled 1 punt, but was recovered by another Greyhound. The punter for Madison Heights has not had that much distance at all. This one, another kick off the side of his foot. Tony Mefford tries to recover it, fumble, but he recovers it at his own 30-yard line. Mefford with a taped left thumb. Had a little hard time getting a hold of it, but covered it wisely. And the Greyhounds will take over first and 10 from the 31-yard line.
That's not just a irregular taped thumb, Cap. That's his arm is taped from the elbow down past the thumb. So the Greyhounds, very surprising that they had sent Mefford out there, just trying to get used to the position. Again, some new names on offense, and we're going to have to try to set that line up here in a while as Jason Mala comes to the line.
I formation behind him, handoff to the tailback, and that is Herman, a sophomore, breaks in for a 4-yard carry.
Ronnie Herman, the sophomore. The kind of confusion up here because the Greyhounds have some double jerseys. The way you can tell the difference on them is because the fact that the sophomore jerseys don't have the gold and the white stripes that the regular varsity jerseys do.
So 4 yards on the carry, credit to Herman. Samala, handoff to Rogers around the outside, makes a cutback and is dropped after he crosses the 40-yard line. Picks up 3 on the carry.
So the Greyhounds now moving the ball well, even on the ground. one thing to watch, maybe they're going to try to test the arm now of quarterback Jay Sama. Mike Thiewell coming in on the play, or into the huddle. So watch maybe for them to go upstairs. It is 3rd and 2.
Steve Brandoff, a new face on the offensive line for the Greyhounds, in there at tackle. Small long count, split formation behind him. Handoff this time to Rogers. Rogers breaks it over midfield to the 49-yard line of the Madison Heights Pirates. 1st and 10 for the Greyhounds. That's their 20th first down of the ball game.
So the Greyhounds moving the ball really, really well. It's kind of amazing to see this after we were watching last week. Kept the Hounds now on top, 48-0. 8:33 left to go in the ball game, and they're just going to grind the clock out, let this one end, and taste sweet victory.
Small over center, split formation, wide left and right. Small long count, barking out the signals. Smollett drops back to pass, wants to throw, long pass over the head. That is complete to Hansman down the right side. Hansman is in for the touchdown, Greyhounds. 49-yard pass completion, Samala to Hansman. That has been a familiar sight at many of the JV football games so far this year.
Jay Samala, junior quarterback. As I said, they might test his arm, and the boy can throw it far, being 6'5", a lanky 6'5", 202 pounds, a lot of arm, and a lot of loft on the ball, but he gets the job more than done. A 49-yard touchdown run from junior to junior. Samala to Hansman, a 49-yarder touchdown pass.
The Greyhounds are now over 200 yards in the pass yardage section. Newkirk on the extra point is up and good for the Greyhounds. The Greyhounds taking a commanding 55-0 lead. 8 minutes, 16 seconds left to go, 4th quarter.
The Greyhounds again have dished the score up now, 55-0. It's been a long, long time since we've seen a score like this. And Kep, I think that might be getting close to flirting with the record. We might have to check that one out.
Madison Heights, a defeated ball club, as the Carmel Greyhound fight song sings out here in the stands in front of us. A lot of Carmel enthusiasm. Great home opener for the Greyhounds. Good spectator ball game. A lot of scoring, especially on the Greyhounds.
So the Greyhounds looking good. The record, the Greyhounds are going to have a hard time catching that one. It was a 70 points against Pike back in 1966. They're on their way. 55-0 is our score, but the Hounds still looking very impressive.
Newkirk to kick. Fielded at the 25-yard line, taken up to the 30, over the 35 to the 40, breaks a tackle over to the 43-yard line. Good return that time by Madison Heights. They'll take over 1st and 10, 43-yard line. Kickoff returned by Basinger.
So the Hounds now are just going to try to let that clock grind out. I know that these accidents keep happening and they're getting the ball back, scoring touchdowns left and right. But the Hounds, I think now, are just going to try to grind out that clock. There's no reason now to make too much of a killing out of it. The Hounds on top, as we said, 55-0. Yancey Deering and Kep Carmichael bringing you the action here on WHJE.
Oh, Clark over center of the quarterback, I formation behind him. Flanker, 2 flankers to the right. Flip back. This is a new runner, gets back to the line of scrimmage. That number 11, Cliff Youngblood, getting the carry. And he gets forward for about 1 yard.
So I think both teams now are going to send in some of the younger players, try to get as much experience as they can now. So, Cap, one thing, as I said, Clark is getting tired as a quarterback. He got a little bit of rest there, but not a lot. The Greyhounds aren't keeping the ball a lot. They're not grinding out a lot of time. So Clark is definitely seeing a lot of action, and he is one tired boy.
He has been playing both ways all game long and has been in on some of the punt and kickoff return teams. Clark over center, I formation behind him. Clark play action pass, rolls to his left, has some running room in front of him. He's going to carry it, and he is dropped down just over the 50-yard line to the 49-yard line.
That's, I believe, going to be just shy of the first down.
So Clark running that looked like maybe a pass. It looked like he wanted to run it all the way, though. He had some opening on his left side. It was was able to turn the corner and is about 1 yard short of the first down.
So the Greyhounds now getting the signals is Judd. He's the only starter out there, I think, talking to the Greyhounds right now on defense.
Matt Quigley, a junior out there for a sophomore for the Greyhounds, getting some playing time. Pitch back to Youngblood. Youngblood turns the corner at the 50 to the 45 and is dragged out of bounds at the 42-yard line of the Greyhounds. And that will be good enough for a first down. 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line, 41-yard line of the Greyhounds.
So a good 10-yard run there by Youngblood. Youngblood comes right into the game, and he's running more effective than Steens was running the same exact plays, just getting some more holes. So the Greyhounds now, right now, what can you really say? 55-0, very devastating from Carmel High School.
Clark, the tired quarterback, over center, I formation. Blitz appears to be on by the Greyhounds. Now they drop back. Hand off to the first man, throw and dropped after about a 4-yard carry. And it'll be 2nd down and 6.
So the run that time was made by Kenny Moore, a new face into the lineup for the Madison Heights Pirates. So they have replaced their backfield, Cap, one thing, and they're moving the ball a little bit now so far.
2nd down, 8 yards to go. Clark over center. Some new wide receivers in the ballgame, split left and right. I formation behind him. Clark, option play, flips back to Youngblood. Youngblood turns the corner, gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Ball comes loose, but I think they're going to call the ball dead where Youngblood went down.
So again, Youngblood moving the ball out to the original line of scrimmage. I'll tell you, that was close. If that would have been a fumble, all it would have done, though, was just set him back 1 yard because Clark went in and picked it right back up and dove on it. So no blood would have really, that fumble would not have made much of a difference either way. So the Greyhounds now trying to stop him here on an important 3rd down where it is 3rd and 9 from the 38-yard line.
Clark over center, 4 minutes, 21 seconds left to go in the ball game. Greyhounds with a commanding 55-0 lead. I formation. Clark play action pass. Pump fakes and is dropped for the sack. Youngblood, Clark just yanked down from behind. Play action pass was a little bit weak, didn't drop any of the coverage.
Sophomore Mark Elliott comes in to make this stick, and he has really so far impressed me and the plays that he's been in. Another new face checking into the lineup, and that will be Mike Berger, who comes in for the Greyhounds. So the Hounds definitely playing some tough defense here, both now as the second stringers are in, and they're playing tough for the Greyhounds. And there's about 3 sophomores in now on that defensive front line.
4th down, 17 yards to go. Clark over center, I formation. Play action pass. Clark has a man open on the right side. That ball is intercepted by Delph. Delph intercepts the ball and will return it back to the 30-yard line. That ball did not have quite enough loft. The intended receiver was Chris Reynolds, but Delph with the interception.
So John Delph with the interception gives the Greyhounds the ball back, and they will pick it up. It will be 1st and 10 from their own 46-yard, or rather, excuse me, the 36-yard line, so they get excellent field position again.
Greyhounds now just trying to run out the clock. 3 minutes left in the 4th quarter, 55-0. No question about the winner now. It's just how soon will the ending gun come. Hand off to the front man. No gain on the play. 2nd down and 10.
So I tell you, Cap, we're going to have a lot of those short runs, as the run was by Mark Rogers. So that, again, not picking up any yardage on 2 carries for Rogers, or excuse me, he's picked up 4 yards. So the Greyhounds now just looking to grind the clock out. Another new sophomore face in as a center is Bill Hoyt.
So Hoyt leads him out of the huddle. Paget over center, split formation behind him. 2 men out wide to the right. Small long count, and the snap is fumbled. A scramble for the ball at the 40-yard line. No indication on who has it now. It looks like the Greyhounds did recover it at their own 30-yard line.
The Greyhounds do recover it, brings up 3rd and 10 from the Greyhounds 31. The Carmel Greyhound fans tasting sweet victories. They're still all up in the stands, and they are packed. It is packed here for the Carmel stands. Again, the Madison Heights fans very sparsely populated, very thin across the way as the sophomore Hoyt brings the team out of the huddle.
Smalo over Hoyt. Runner, wide receiver split left and right, and flag down, delay of game for the Greyhounds.
That's going to be a 5-yard penalty. Brings up 3rd and 15. Now watch the Greyhounds to put the ball upstairs, pass it here, try to get out of the hole, get some extra work by the punter, Sharp. So a couple other new names. Mike Mayer checks into the game along with Eric Larson, another wide receiver. Mayer also wide receiver. They replace 2 running backs, so watch him to definitely take the ball and throw it this time.
Small over center. I formation behind him. 2 wide receivers left and right. Smala long count, barks the signals. Play action pass, Smala rolls to his right, has a man open, a long lofty pass out of bounds. Smala upset with himself on that pass, sort of a lame duck throw.
As he underthrows Eric Larson by about 10 yards, and he overthrew the other receiver out for the Greyhounds. So not a very good pass by Jay Smala. Here comes the punting crew to get it off. We have a new punter in the game. If we can pick him up, that is going to be John Spidell, I believe, for the Greyhounds.
Spidell gets a good snap and a punt off. That will be fielded after 1 bounce at the 40-yard line by Youngblood and is dropped at the 41-yard line. Great coverage by the Greyhounds. In there to make the first hit, Jack Christie, Jr. for the Greyhounds.
So wasn't Spidell on punt, excuse me, Chris Rasmussen. The Ravs comes in and punts for the Greyhounds and gets a pretty good punt off. So from about the 44-yard line where Madison Heights will take over, it'll be 1st and 10 now, just 1 minute, 7 seconds left to go in the game. 55-0 is our score. The Greyhounds looking to blank the Madison Heights Pirates.
Greyhounds looking to pick up their first check in the win column this year. This one, without a doubt, 55-0. A minute left in the 4th quarter. New quarterback coming in over center with the I formation behind him. Hand off to the second man through. That's Youngblood. He busts through for about a yard.
The new quarterback in the game is Jeff Hefferman, 5'11", 151-pound junior. So Youngblood picks up 2 yards on the play. So Youngblood has been moving the ball pretty good since he's been in the game. On 4 carries, he has 13 yards. Don't forget to tune in to Sports Edge Thursday at 6 o'clock. The next Greyhound game will be at Noblesville High School next Friday night.
Hefferman over center. I formation behind him. Drops back to pass. Rolling to his left now. And he is option play. Great play up. And Youngblood breaks it. Breaking a couple tackles. 1 man to beat. And he is dragged down at the 15-yard line. Looked like it might have been a pass. But that was the last play of the ball game. This ball game's over. The Greyhounds pick up a 55-0 win.
So that's the ball game. We'll be back with some statistics and a quick wrap-up after this 60-second timeout on the voice of the Greyhounds.
Our thanks go out to the following WHJE Super Boosters. Bennett Music Company. Bennett Music features recording studios for many different audio needs. In fact, most all of WHJE's jingles were recorded at Bennett Music. Call Joe Bennett at 257-6293 for more information. And Butler Toyota of 96th and Keystone. Butler Toyota has put WHJE on the road to bring you more exciting Greyhound action. Butler Toyota has done this by providing WHJE and CHTV with a brand new Butler Toyota van. Butler Toyota at 96th and Keystone for new or used cars or trucks. Call 846-9600 for more information. That's Butler Toyota at 846-9600, home of the fussy customer. WHJE and CHTV would like to say thanks to these Super Boosters for their very generous contributions.
Welcome back to Carmel High School. Yancey Deering along with Kep Carmichael with wrap up quickly, though. The Greyhounds win this one to up their record to 1-1. 55-0 is our score. Here's Kep Carmichael with some quick wrap-up results, statistics from the game, and just the scoring, I guess we're going to take a look at. Kep?
First score for the Greyhounds was, with 8 minutes and 7 seconds left in the first quarter, Toby Cole on a 4-yard run capped a 9-play, 65-yard drive. Mark Lavatt had the point after, and the score was 7-0. With 1 minute and 43 seconds left in the first quarter, Mike Sharp, 4-yard run, capped a 10-play, 83-yard drive. Mark Lavatt again with a point after, and the score was 14-0. Then in the second quarter, 3 minutes and 47 seconds left, Adam Ritz caught a 25-yard bullet from Bill Padgett, capping a 5-play, 70 yards. Mark Lavatt with a point after, 21-0 the score. Later in that quarter, 1 minute and 15, Adam Ritz with a 45-yard pass reception from Bill Padgett. That was a 1-play, 45 yards. Mark Lavatt with a point after, 28-0 Carmel Greyhounds. Then in the third quarter, 9:56 left, Trent Decatur at a 20-yard pass interception. Great play by Decatur. Lavatt with a point after, and it was 35-0 the Carmel Greyhounds on top. With 4 minutes and 6 seconds left in the third quarter, Toby Cole with his second score of the ball game, 5-yard run, capping a 5-play, 65-yard.
This is John Shostak back at the station here at WHJE, and thanks Kep and Yancey for bringing us coverage of the football game. Carmel, of course, coming out a winner, 55-0. I'm John Shostak, ready to start an evening of great music. Let's get right into it here. Here's the Fat Boys and the Beach Boys.